Hello and welcome to That Man. That is me merchandise, and today it's once again time to look at the manga I've read over the past month. Now, this time I'm purposely not including Yotsuba because I actually did reread Yotsuba once again. Well, about half of it anyway. But I want to focus on some of the other titles that I have picked up and have read this month. There's about 15, 16 or so quite a bit to get through. Join me as we have a look and see what I've been reading. First up is Keiichi Arari's masterpiece Nichijou, My Ordinary Life. Now I've been reading Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, Volume 6, Volume 7, Volume 8, Volume 9 and Volume 10. That's right, I have read the entire rest of this series. In fact, I think I read the entire of the series in February. Honestly, that's quite an accomplishment for me. Normally I kind of get through halfway through something and then just go, oh, I want to read something else. And then I'm just like, oh, I'll go back to it another time. But no, Nichijou held my attention for the entire thing. And honestly, it's so worth it. It's an absolute fantastic manga that I don't hear a lot of people talking about. I hear a lot of people talking about the anime, but not so much the manga itself. These are absolutely beautifully packed volumes with tons and tons of great, hilarious content. And you know what? The artwork is absolutely amazing. Not in the fact that it's jaw-dropping, it's the fact it's so simple, but it's so crisp and clear, and it makes all of those jokes feel, I don't know, somewhat funnier. It's nice to be able to see all of those jokes and see everything on the screen, rather than having other series where, I don't know, sometimes the series get a little bit cluttered. One of my absolute favourite parts of Nichijou was the Go Soccer Club. This was a club that was just a little bit mentioned in the first few volumes. It was just kind of like, oh, well, they just kind of have this little club. And then it kind of gets more and more ridiculous to the point that more and more people start joining it. More and more people start winning tournaments in this sport that one guy just made up on a whim. It turns out to be this whole massive thing, and honestly, it's one of the few aspects of Nichijou that I kind of feel runs throughout the full series. Nichijou isn't perfect, but it does get a lot of things right, in the fact that it just manages to be funny pretty much consistently. My only issue was that Volume 10, it kind of felt that it just ended. It didn't have that huge kind of send-off. It was just kind of like, oh, this is just another ordinary day of life, which I suppose is the kind of aspect that we would be expecting from it. But honestly, Nichijou, I really enjoyed it. Probably not going to read it anytime soon again, but that's just the way of manga. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people on here who read stuff and then there's kind of like, oh, well, I'm not going to pick it up again, not for quite some time anyway. But I really enjoyed my time with Nichijou, just probably not going to go back to it straight away. And if you do like Nichijou, if you do want to hear more about the history of Nichijou, check out this video up here, the entire history of Nichijou. And yeah, it's definitely one that I would recommend checking out if you enjoy this stuff. Please remember to like and subscribe and do all of that stuff. Staying on the Nichijou thing, this is the one that's, well, it's kind of the sequel, the spiritual successor to Nichijou. It's also kind of an art book and a diary. This is Keiichi Arari's Helvetica Standard Bold. I didn't bother getting the italic one. The reason being is that it kind of, I don't know, this kind of did its job. There's 2 volumes of it. I might go back and get the second one eventually, but this one was like $8.99, but every time I see the italic one, it's always $14.99, and it's just a little thin, small thing. If you like Keiichi Arari's, if you want more Nichijou, there's plenty of content in here, but not enough content for me to just go, oh yeah, definitely recommend it. I enjoyed my time, but I'm not in any kind of rush to read it again. In fact, I feel like maybe I was Nichijou'd out, and some of the stuff, it's the jokes are fun, but then there's not a huge amount of content in there to make it worth the £15. Maybe if you see it on sale or something like that, but yeah, it's Helvetica Standard. A lot of the stuff from here is in Nichijou. A lot of the jokes in here are in the Nichijou anime. So if you want more Nichijou, I would definitely recommend this one. But for me, because I'd kind of caught up on Nichijou, I think at the end I was kind of like, oh, I'm happy with this. I'm happy with the amount of stuff in here. Might have been happy if it ended a little bit better, but this I think might have been a little bit overkill, which is why I'm kind of holding off going back into City anytime soon. Now this is a title we discussed last time, Delicious in Dungeon by Ryoki Kui. I hope I pronounced that right. I probably haven't. This is volume 4, and this literally gets up to where I have left off on the series. I know that volume 8 is just about to come out, so I'm going to try and catch up with this because I absolutely adore it. And I've pretty much caught up on almost everything else on my manga list. Brilliant! Well, at least physically. That digital side. I don't even want to look at that. Delicious in Dungeon is one of those series that you either love it or you love it. There's no in between. It's one of those ones that I feel like it gets a lot of attention, but not nearly enough attention. Kind of like Yotsuba. I mean, Yotsuba gets a lot of attention, but a lot of people don't seem to be picking that one up quite as much. Maybe because there hasn't been a new volume in about 3 years, but Delicious in Dungeon is about Dungeons and Dragons and eating all of the monsters. That's right. It's one that's absolutely fantastic, and I really enjoyed this one in the terms of the fights. Most of the fight is against the Red Dragon, the first main boss of the series, and honestly you could probably finish reading the whole series at this point. It's literally one of those nice kind of stopgaps where you kind of just reading it and you're just like, oh yeah, I'm enjoying this, I don't want any more, but I can stop here. I wanted more, so I'm going to buy some more. But honestly, Delicious in Dungeon, if I haven't managed to convince you to read this one already, definitely try and pick it up at some point. I'm sure they'll be on a sale. In fact, I believe at the moment Book Depository has 8% coin back on volume 1s. No doubt this will be part of it. Nice, beautiful, crisp artwork. A lot of interesting food tips, even if it is just eating dragon. I can't think of any other way I could eat a dragon. Kobayashi's Dragon Maids. In fact, there's a lot of things about eating dragons. Weird. It's some weird fetish that we don't know about. Who knows? But no, I would definitely recommend Delicious in Dungeon. I would really recommend it, in fact, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how the next volume pans out. If I remember rightly, I kind of got a little bit bored once they beat the main dragon, and kind of, if I remember rightly, it kind of lost a little bit of focus after this. But there's enough volumes out there now for me to pick up the rest of them and just go, you know what, I'm going to try it again and we'll see how it goes. Stay tuned for more updates on Delicious in Dungeon. Now, I don't seem to go back to a lot of the older classics. There's some titles that's out there that people just absolutely hype up and hype up and hype up. And unless I'm kind of like wanting to get into it, I'll probably just leave it and just go, you know what, I appreciate it, but I don't really need the time to go back into it. I will get to it eventually, and that is essentially what I did with this title, Planetes, both Volume 1 and Volume 2, the omnibus editions. Now, I purposely picked these up last year because they were quite hard to find at one point. And everyone was hyping up and was like, oh yes, yes, read Planetes, it's one of the best series ever. And I picked it up and I finally read it and I was just like, yeah, it's decent. I'm not going to lie, I kind of went in, I don't know, a little bit too optimistic for this one. As great as it was, I kind of felt it a little bit slow going and a little bit strange. Not strange in the kind of a weird kind of thing, it kind of just felt like it jumped all over the place. And while there is a narrative running through the entire thing, I kind of felt a lot of the main story was done very early into part 2. Now, maybe it's because it was an omnibus edition, but I kind of felt that I got so far through this and I was just like, oh, you know what, I've just got to keep reading it just to finish off this volume. If it was maybe separated into 4 volumes, I probably would have enjoyed this one a little bit more, just so I kind of had that little bit of a break. But I don't know, I feel like I got quite fatigued with this one, even though there's only 4 volumes worth of stuff. It's about garbage men in space, and honestly, that is a running theme throughout the title. However, I never really felt that it really focused on that. It was the kind of more the day-to-day lives of these 3 space cadets who are all wanting different things. One of them is trying to suppress the memory of his late wife, who tragically died in a space accident. Another is a young man who's just trying to become a pilot, save up enough money and become world famous. Another is a mother of an unruly child who, well, she just wants the best for everyone. There are other characters into it, but those are the main ones. Obviously there's a young girl as well. And we see these characters age and grow. However, I don't know, I mean, the character who wants to become a space cadet, he is the main one, and that is completely fair. But I don't know, I kind of felt that I got just enough from some of these characters, but not enough from others, that I kind of was like, oh, I'm really attached to these at the end. Maybe it needed a little bit more. Maybe it needed a little bit more for me. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I kind of would say, oh, well, it's not the masterpiece that everyone made it out to be. In fact, if you're going to go for space stuff, I would definitely recommend Space Brothers over this. Space Brothers goes into everything just that little bit more. And while I do enjoy Planet Earth, again, I'm not going to be in any rush to reread it. I struggled with the thought of, would I cover this in a complete history? And I was kind of like, I was kind of like, well, there's an anime, and you know what? I just couldn't be bothered to watch the anime. But let me know what you guys think, because I know a lot of people absolutely adore this one, and I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for giving it a bit more of a critique than other people. But yeah, this one, I enjoyed it, and I'm probably going to keep it, but I'm not going to rush out and go, oh, well, everybody should read it. Yeah, I think I'm kind of a little bit more attached to Vinland Saga than this one. Even then, I'm not hugely attached to Vinland Saga. That's just the way it goes, isn't it? Over the past few weeks, I've been trying to get into a certain franchise, and one that's proven quite difficult to read. It's not an easy read by any stretch of the imagination, and that is the Saga of Tanya the Evil. Now, I've managed to read through the entirety of Volume 5, which is roughly 325 pages, and each page seems to be more action-packed, more difficult to read than most other light novels I pick up. In fact, I've always kind of said Tanya the Evil is not a light novel, it's more of an actual novel. But what I have read, I absolutely enjoyed. Probably helped by the fact that I rewatched the anime. The anime came out a few weeks ago in the UK, finally. But yeah, this was an absolute fantastic read. Very interesting. I'm really enjoying the whole aspect of things and how this massive war that Tanya is never ever going to be able to conquer just keeps going, just keeps getting bigger and bigger, with more and more people introduced into the conflict. They're introducing more characters that are kind of going into World War II territory, not World War II territory. We've got Chernobyl, who was the Winston Churchill kind of thing. I'm quite a bit through Volume 6, that's going to be covered in the next one of these updates. And honestly, it's one of my favourite isekai. It's one of those ones where I kind of feel like once you get into it, you'll get into it. And I feel that if you are going to read it, get a few volumes, maybe get 2 or 3 volumes, and just binge the entire thing. In fact, I would recommend getting Volume 1 and 2. If I remember rightly, I can't remember if it's 2 or 3. Originally, there was only supposed to be 2 or 3 volumes to the entire series, so Volume 2 or 3, whichever one it is, that one manages to wrap everything up eventually, and I really recommend it. Absolute fantastic one. It's not going to be to everyone's taste. If you like World War I or World War II scenarios, definitely check this one out. Maybe it's just our kind of British blood that kind of has an interest in these things. It's dark, it's sadistic, and you know what, Tanya does become an evil figure. But it's one that I would really recommend. Maybe not so much for newcomers of light novels. Here's another title that I talk about rather frequently. Silver Spoon Volume 13. That's right. Yen Press are getting really fast in releasing Silver Spoon volumes, and honestly, I can't fault them for it. I believe Volume 15, the very last one, is due out in about a month or two's time. I think they're pretty much just going, right, it's pretty much going to end, let's just get all of them out. And you know what? I love this one. I really struggled on deciding, when I was trying to decide on the best beginner manga for you guys, I really struggled between this one and Barakamon. But you know what? I think out of the two, I feel like I would probably reread a little bit more frequently. In fact, Barakamon has been relegated to my other shelf in another room where I'm kind of like, oh, well, these ones are ones I kind of might get rid of, but I probably won't. Because I've kind of finished it and it takes up a load of space, I'm kind of like, yeah. Maybe once I get a new place, I will keep a Barakamon. That's talking about Barakamon. This is Silver Spoon. This one continues the absolute fantastic day-to-day life of Hachiken and the other people at the Farming Academy, and we have more pizza. You know what? I actually ate pizza for the first time in a long time, and I was like, you know what? I enjoy pizza. Maybe Flip can pick up Silver Spoon. It's a lot about pizza stuff. I don't know. Go check him out. Well, he's probably recommended to me. Do whatever. Silver Spoon, it continues that whole thing about animals, farms, and all that kind of thing, with a little bit less focus on animals. This one continues their equestrian efforts, and honestly, out of all of the stuff in Silver Spoon, that's kind of my least interesting part. However, in this volume they have some absolute hilarious moments with Hachiken's dad getting involved. A lot of people are kind of like saying, oh, Hachiken's in line with the mob and his dad is a rather fearsome figure, and that makes things a little bit more awkward for Hachiken because, yeah, his dad's kind of getting involved and scaring people away and letting him win, get a little bit more points. But you know what? It's one of those titles that's so heartwarming and would change your life. Possibly. It might make you want to eat pizza or chicken nuggets or, I don't know, beef pie or something like that. A few months ago I covered a certain series that is absolutely blown up and is now the top selling manga on Book Depository. It was also the top rated anime, or second top rated anime for some time, and that is Interspecies Reviewers. Yes, I'm not going to never buy this one because it's an absolute hilarious manga, and I know it's not to everybody's taste, but you know what? You can go a lot worse than this one. Yes, it's got a lot of ecchi, it's got a lot of sexual content in here, but you know what? That's life. I've never actually met a cast so diverse in Interspecies Reviewers as well. Yeah, that's kind of one of those weird things. I suppose this channel is now more got lower standards or higher standards than Sony. Does not reach Sony's standards or Funimation standards for some Funimation's own back. Does not reach. Does that mean it's higher than Sony standards or lower? There's a lot of stuff I can talk about this one, and there's a lot of dramatical stuff I can talk about this one. But you know what? I don't think this is that bad of a series. I mean, yeah, it's trashy, but you know what? There's a lot of other series out there that has different stuff. For example, if people want to get to see, I don't know, don't get decapitated, they might want to read Berserk, or if they want to see someone, I don't know, get it on with a centaur. Yeah, fine, not different strokes for different blokes, I suppose. Honestly, I'm not going to badmouth Interspecies Reviewers. I know not everybody likes it, but you know what? You can do a lot worse than this. You can do a lot worse. A lot worse indeed. Now, another title I was so excited to read, I was so incredibly hyped to come out, was Akira Hiramoto's Raw Hero. Oh my god, what I could say about this one, and I will in a separate video. This one is by the mad genius who brought us Prison School, and you know what, if you like Prison School, you're gonna enjoy this one too. In fact, it's about superheroes, so you know, that means we don't need My Hero Academia anymore. Yeah, oh, I saw My Hero Academia the movie. Oh my god, that was such a bad movie. But Raw Hero is a good superhero series. I'm not saying My Hero Academia is a bad one. It's just goes in and does its job. It's the hardcore Holly of shonen. If anyone gets that reference, you know, that kind of one. Just goes in, does its job, doesn't do anything special, goes home and gets paid. That's My Hero Academia. But Raw Hero is certainly something special. Like I said, brought to us by the mad inventor of Prison School. This one tells a story of a young man who was trying to just do his best for his brothers and sisters when he comes across a when he comes across a groper on a train, he stands up for himself and it costs him an interview. However, due to a change of circumstances, he tries to apply for another job with hilarious results. If you like the absolute ridiculousness of Prison School, you are going to enjoy this one. The artwork is beautiful, as you expect from Hiromoto. There's a lot of interesting things, and there's a lot of stuff that I want to talk about with this one, but I'm not going to, because it would spoil stuff. It would spoil stuff. It would even spoil the cover if I just said too much. There's a little bit of a hint there for you. But you know what? Raw Hero is one of those series that I feel we need more of. I feel that it needs to have more hype than it's getting. It's not for everyone. There's a lot of, well, like, let's face it, it's Prison School. There's a lot of very in-depth, hardcore, ecchi. But it's a good title, and one that I'm so excited to read more of, and one that I would really hope that you guys come and check out a further video of. If you want a little bit more history on Prison School, check out the above video right there. 2 volumes I want to talk about is bottom tier character Tomozaki. Now, this is a title that as soon as I read volume 1, I was like, immediately I purchased volume 2. It was that good. Kind of like a self-help light novel. Man, Tomozaki, he's good at playing games like Smash Brothers. In fact, he's almost world famous under his alter ego, his online account at Not Smash Brothers. And he discovers a rival. And they have a few games, and they go, fancy meeting up? Do you live in this area? And he goes, yeah, okay, because it's Tokyo and everyone's just like, oh, well, I'm not going to get stabbed. If this is any other series, he would get stabbed. And when he comes across the person, when he meets them in real life, they are popular classmates. A beautiful girl. And she is immediately kind of like, oh, I'm disappointed. The person I look up to, the person I admire, they're just a lowly person. They're a person who doesn't even care about themselves. The person who just goes, oh, don't make an effort. And he goes, well, I was given the bad card in life. I was given a terrible card in life. And she's just like, no. You make life of what you make out of it. And you know what? He goes, I'll try. I'm going to try it. I'll think of it as a game. And with her guidance, he goes from the bottom tier character in real life to starting becoming a little bit more popular. Now, it is a light novel, and it is a light novel that I would absolutely recommend. It's one that I'm not hearing much buzz on, but it's one that I would definitely recommend people who like light novels to 100% check out. It's rather unique. It's one that I think you can take a lot of stuff from it. Even just smiling more. I try and smile as much as I can. But then it's just kind of like, oh, well, if you smile more, you're going to get a lot more positive attention and stuff like that. And he's just like, oh, it's never going to happen. He's like, no, try it. And it's all these little things, these little small tips and tricks that you could kind of do to kind of have a more positive thing. And he benefits from it. It's an absolute fantastic light novel, and one that I have covered more in depth up here. Go check that one out. And that is it from me. What did you think of the stuff that I've read so far? Is there anything that you've got your eye on yourself? Is there anything interesting that you've been reading? Let me know in the comments, and recommend me something. Recommend me something to read. I know a few people come on and ask me, go, oh, have you read To Love Ru? I haven't. Or have you read this? Have you read that? And I'm just usually like, oh, I haven't. And they're just like, go check it out. And yeah, do so. That's it from me. Thank you for coming, and thanks again for staying. Goodbye.